good.
Hello, Facebook. I see you.
Let's see, what do we got here?
And I just went live on dance conditioning technique for Instagram.
You don't want to start going live, Susan. You want
Okay.
we want to invite you to the live of Apollo whenever we go. So
Hi,
you'll get an invitation.
Okay.
Hi all, welcome. It is Friday, it is Beyond the Steps Day. I am Bree with Apollo here with my fabulous friend and co-host Melissa McDaniels, and we are chatting with the fabulous Susan Haynes today, and we're talking about what is fascia and how does it impact dance training. I'm going to get Susan and Melissa here on Instagram with me in just a minute, and then we're going to get started. So sit tight. In the meantime, share this conversation. Let your friends and your groups know what's going on, and join us. Pop your questions and comments for Susan in the chat on any platform, and we will make sure to get that answered for you by the end of the conversation. We're going to get started here in just a minute. I don't see either one of you on Instagram. Are you?
I am. Let me find you.
Can you request me because I don't see you?
Live. Turn you down so our Facebook friends don't get feedback.
Let me see. Okay, I see you now, Melissa. Accepting you. Susan, accepting you. Let's see if that works. Okay. There's 1 and 2. And then Susan, you're going to want to turn your volume all the way down on your phone so we don't hear that echo. Hi, Ash. Welcome, everybody. Oh, Kristen Koskinen is on. Ashley Mowry is on. Some of our faves. Nice to see you both. Happy Friday.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I know.
It's like a reunion.
We are
oh, my goodness.
It's Beyond the Steps Day, y'all. We're going to get started here in just a minute. We're going to let our friends catch up on Facebook in just 30 seconds, and we'll get started.
Yes, absolutely. Hi. Oh, there's Instagram. More people are coming in on Instagram. I see my Facebook friends catching up. Let me share it to my pages. While I am sharing to my pages, please share it to yours, Facebook. We would love for you to invite people into this conversation, whether it be in your private dance teacher groups or your dance mom groups or whatever groups you're in, or to your public page here on Facebook. We love to get more people into this conversation as much as we possibly can. Sharing it to my Turning Point Facebook page here.
Got to share it with all the pages.
Yeah, we got to share it with all the pages. You know, we're all in 1 million Facebook groups, so.
There are so many. I don't even know which dance teacher page is like the page anymore.
Yeah,
you know, like
we're just all there.
I get
doing
confused.
Our thing. I do get confused. I absolutely get confused. Let's go on my Instagram here. All right, everybody. I think that it is safe to get started. I think our friends are joining us. So today is Beyond the Steps Day. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We are here every single Friday. I am here, Bree is here, and we are so honored to have Susan here with us today to talk about understanding fascia and the implications for dance training. This is going to be a learning episode for me. Bree, you know, this is her thing, this is her lane, this is where she is, but it's definitely going to be and of course Susan is, she's our expert. But this is going to be a learning experience for me because I know this is not never going to talk about this is not something that we talk about very often, but it's makes such a huge impact in the training, health, and performance of our dancers. So we have a huge feedback.
Susan, is your volume down on your phone?
Volume's down on the phone. Let me get it all the way off. Try that. Does that better?
Melissa, keep talking. Let's see if we can.
That's a little bit better. I think that's a little bit better. Not me.
Are headphones connected all the way to whatever they're plugged into?
Let's see.
Yes. All right, let's see. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Nope, I still have feedback.
Yep.
And my headphones are on and Zoom is selecting them and phone volume is down.
Perfect.
Let's see.
Oh, what about on Facebook? On Facebook, do you have your the volume turned down on Facebook? It might be, you might be like logged in on your computer to see the live. Hi, all. It's Beyond the Steps Day. Bree and Melissa here. We are with Susan Haynes talking about fascia and how it impacts dance training. So we're going to get started here in just a minute. We're working through a couple technical difficulties, and we'll get started in a minute. But share. Okay, so I think it's coming from, let's see. I'm making sure all my volumes are down everywhere.
Yeah, all mine are down. My headphones are plugged in. My Facebook is muted.
Okay, try that. I changed one setting. Is that better?
Okay, test.
Yep, I think that's better.
I think that got it.
For sure.
All right, perfect. We're back. You know, we cannot have a show without some technical difficulties.
Oh, no, there it is again.
There it is again. So I'm just gonna kind of move forward here. We're gonna figure out who's getting the feedback. If you're getting the feedback over on Facebook, please let us know in the comments. If you're getting it on Instagram, please let us know, and maybe that'll help us narrow down exactly where it is coming from. But like I said, we're talking about understanding fascia and implications for dance training. We have Susan Haynes here, who has done tons and tons of work in this area, and we are so excited to learn from her today. Like we always say, Bree and I are crazy, but we're not really crazy because we're going to be looking around over here, over there, down and up. We are looking for your comments. So please, if you have questions, if you have comments, drop them in the chat, either on Facebook, on Zoom, or on Instagram, and we will try to make sure that Susan answers those before she leaves today. And as always, please share now, share after, whenever it is, please share and bring as many people into the conversation as possible. All right. Bree, would you like to go ahead and introduce?
Yes, so we have Susan Haynes is a dance kinesiologist bringing new ideas in dance science directly into technique classes to prevent injury and build dancer-specific strength. She works with causes of dysfunctional movement in the motor control center with neurokinetic therapy. She created dance conditioning technique to bridge research in neuroscience and fascia into dance training. She also teaches this technique once a month on as an Apollo a partner. She teaches these classes, these movement-based classes on our platform as well, so you can catch her there, and the schedule is on IG. Check that out. She is the director of dance at Western Washington University and has presented her research at conferences nationwide. She studied fascial movement, patterning, and taping, and holds certification in NKT, NCPT, Pilates, yoga, FMT, mobility specialist, and IASTM. You can check out more at her website, danceconditioningtechnique.com. Susan, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I am such a fan of Apollo Performance and all the amazing things that you folks are doing for the dance world and for dancers. So it is an honor to get to come and share my research and join the good cause of changing dance training to help prevent injuries and all of that. So
that's the dream. That is the goal and the dream. And there's so much good work being done to see a risk reduction and the injuries that we're seeing with dancers. It is way too much. They are the toughest athletes in the world, but the injury rate is just way too high. Susan, as a kinesiologist, the work you do varies and weaves into many different aspects of the dance world. I know so many dancers who are aspiring to practice kinesiology one day. Can you share more about how you conduct your work and research within the community and any recommendations you might have for someone looking to kinesiology as a career path?
Yes, absolutely. I think it comes down to knowing dance, right? I think that we are learning that fabulous organization, Doctors for Dancers, has done so much to help the field and make sure that when a dancer goes in with an injury, they're not told, well, you just need to stop dancing. Like that's not a functional answer. And so in order to support the field and learn more about dance science, I think dancers who are curious about the body, curious about how the systems function together, how training works, pursuing that. I think teaching is a great start because that's research on the fly in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this kind of exercise for 6 weeks in the studio, and is it getting better? Is it getting smoother? Are people feeling stronger? Okay, no. Well, what do we need to do differently? And so I think that's kind of that in the minute research, that anecdotal evidence of something needs to change. And so I think getting started with teaching and then branching out into the study of anatomy and the kinesiology and dance science. There's a lot of great university programs where you can get a Bachelor of Science degree in dance science. And I think that's a fabulous route to take. My university, Western Washington University in beautiful Bellingham, Washington, we have to have you folks out one day to bring the sock love to the West Coast.
Yes. We would love that.
We have a lot of dance majors who also get a kinesiology degree. So they're double majoring, and their goal is, I'm going to come out of here and continue my passion for dance, but also help dancers in working either at physical therapy offices or through Pilates and yoga private clients, or just through teaching dance. I think a lot of growth in the field is coming through dance educators who are getting more knowledge and recognizing that we need to make change to what's going on. So I think there are so many ways to bring dance science to dancers, and that is either through seeing private clients, but I think that's almost after the injury happens. So I love the idea of being proactive and making change happen at the studio level. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I got into this work is I've been teaching in universities for many, many years, and I would see so many students, 18 years old, coming to be a dance major at college. Their dream has come true, and their very first week of school, they would say, well, I've had this hip injury, and I've had this pain for a long time, and it really hurts, and no one can figure out what it is. And it turned out that they already had a labral tear, which pretty much meant you were not going to have the dance career that you dreamed you would have. So just seeing so many dancers' dreams derailed with debilitating injuries from the training happening at the studio level. And so helping dance teachers recognize, how do we change this for the better? How do we make sure that what's going on an individual level, and I think that is a big part of this, and where we're training in dance science, helping your clients, seeing private clients, that can help change things so that you're preventing injuries on an individual basis.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, I do and I don't. I almost am to the point where I really feel like that degree needs to be required to work with children in any athletic capacity, or somebody needs to be on staff that has that ability, because it really is, it makes all the difference in the world when there's an educator who understands the body and how it works, and how we need to train it to be strong enough to keep up with the schedule and what we're demanding of our bodies. But at the same time, there's just no governing body in this business, and there's no certification that a teacher has to have to teach dance. And so we're really finding a lot of teachers who are relying on older information that was passed down by their teacher or their teacher's teacher. And there's really just so much more new information. And so anytime I see an educator who's consistently working, I'm saying this, and I'm seeing Nicole Jordan, one of my old teachers, that she's a director now, but I worked with her, and she's so great about educating herself constantly. She's always learning. Casey's like this too, like always learning, always getting new information, and always moving forward and questioning and asking why, so that we're operating with the most up-to-date information and making sure we're coming from up-to-date practices, right?
Right. And I think it is so challenging, because we see that the way we've done it works for some folks. But we know that it doesn't work for everyone. It doesn't work for all bodies. And so I think one of the most beneficial things that's happening in the dance field today is the recognition that we're not doing this just for a narrow window of people. We are broadening the scope and recognizing that everyone, honoring those differences. So that's a big part of it.
Well, and I want to recognize too, while obviously there's different needs, the more hours you're dancing. So a competitive level dancer is going to need more attention to this than a recreational dancer who does this once a week. It's really just important across the board, because oftentimes, when kids are coming to the studio, no matter how much they're dancing, if they do that repetitive movement and that repetitive pattern of training for years and years and years, ultimately, by the time they get to high school, college, it's going to be painful. And that's pain that is going to stay with them forever. And so why we're talking with Susan today, and what's so important to recognize, is what can we do now at the studio level, inner training? How does fascia impact that? What can we be doing now so that we don't have to live with that physical trauma for the rest of our life? And, I think with younger people, we're always, we see younger people going, I don't have to worry about that now. I feel great, and then by the time they feel that pain, it's too late. And so we're talking about preventative, this idea of being preventative, and this idea of being ahead of the curve, so that we don't have to have that pain later, and drilling that in. So that is why we are here today. That is what Beyond the Steps is. With that, let's kick off the first segment. And Melissa, I know you have questions that you want to start with for Susan.
I absolutely do. And anybody who watches the show knows I'm the first person who goes, okay, I'm gonna start with the basics, and especially on this, because I am totally over my head. So what is fascia?
Right.
Super simple question. Let's start with it.
And that is the question, right? And I think it is I'll say new-ish part of our research. And fascia is an extracellular matrix. It's collagen fibers that envelop all the muscles, the nerves, from the surface of the skin all the way down to the nucleus of the cell. It's a global network. A quote that I really like: fascia is the tensional, continuous fibrillar network within the body, extending from the surface of the skin all the way through to the cell. And it's a global network. And so they used to say, oh, the body has 650 muscles, or there are 700 muscles in the body. And now they're saying there's one fascial layer that envelops the entire body, with pockets for all of these muscles. So I've seen a lot of folks do a great demonstration of fascia if you're peeling an orange. And I apologize, I was not organized enough to bring my orange to the top. But if you peel open the orange, there's that white layer inside. And then if you look at every segment of the orange, it's coated in this extracellular matrix of, we'll say, tissue on our orange. And then each tiny segment has that same wrapping. And then each piece of each segment has that wrapping. Okay. So Eric Franklin, who is a master bodywork and dance science practitioner, he has several books out there. He has a fabulous video where he has about 5 people wrapping themselves with TheraBands. And he will say, the first person is the muscle spindle, and they're standing next to the person wrapped with, and then they've wrapped down to smaller and smaller. And they'll say, and now we all glide together. Here's how all the layers work. So fascia is there are 4 layers to it. It's sort of a thin sheath of tissue. It's all same collagen tissue that we are made of, that envelops everything and lets us move and glide. It sort of helps hold the body shape.
Hold the body shape. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That helps with the example, just like the skin of the orange holds the shape, and then you got the fibrous parts that hold. So it's holding the shape. So my next question is a follow-up to that. It's almost a question in disbelief. So, I mean, I'm assuming that fascia didn't just appear in the human body in the last, decade or so. This has always been there. It's been part of our anatomy. It's been how our body is held together. So what research has been done on fascia, and who's conducting the research, particularly as it applies to dancers?
Right. Yes. And I think it has been around this whole time. Part of the reason they talk about when they were dissecting cadavers, there was all of this stuff, this sort of white stuff, and they would push it aside, and they sort of deemed it, oh, this is just kind of extra. We want the muscles. That's where the real stuff happens. We want the muscles. We want the bones. Whatever that stuff is, get it out of the way, because I need to look at a muscle. I need to look at what the real part of the body is. And so it's been here all along, but they were sort of pushing it aside. They referred to it as, they thought it was just this packing material and that it didn't do anything.
Okay.
And so when ultrasound technology improved, and they could say, wait a minute, we are now able to see that there are layers of tissue, and they are actually moving, and they are connecting to the skin, they are connecting to the muscles. There's something else going on here. And so I think 2007 was the first international symposium on fascial research. And Ida Rolf, the woman who started the structural integration with Rolfing, her foundation, the Ida Rolf Foundation, started this research symposium. And so they have had you can Google the International Fascial Research Congress and all of their fabulous keynote speakers. So a lot of the major players in fascial research, and they are, of course, too numerous to mention, but Carla Stecco is one of the primary researchers, and she is actually a keynote speaker at this year's fascia symposium coming up. Robert Schleip has done a lot of work with this. Thomas Myers might be the most familiar name to dance teachers out there. His book Anatomy Trains, and of the myofascial meridians, thinking about the body. And he has fantastic resources on his site as well. And then Helene Langvin also has done a lot of studies. And I think one of the best things about fascial research is it reflects the shift in there are women that are part of the narrative here. So,
so fascinating. And I mean, you reference a year as close as 2007. Where advancements were being made in the structure of the human body. That's just unbelievable to me.
Right.
So, so when athletes have issues with fascia, is it easy to identify it as fascia, or is it often misdiagnosed as something else? Because so many times you hear doctors really struggle to diagnose an issue that especially dancers have, but any athlete really, is it easily identifiable?
And I think there's so many complex layers, like everything is so connected, that I think that if someone is, like, we could talk about like the Achilles tendon, that the Achilles tendon is layers, like fascial layers are connecting in there. It is a major tendon, and it has to have the elasticity. And so this might be a way to tease out, where is the injury coming from? Or how did you get to the point that you established this overuse injury or acute injury? And the fascial tissues give us elasticity in movement. And I'll apologize to everyone that I'll just keep doing this with my hands the whole time, right? That's my visual aid of the layers gliding and sliding. And so if that elasticity isn't there, either that the tissues are not being put through a range of motion that they have established that glide, or you have challenged them or added so much force that they have a muscle strain has resulted in the fascial passing its point of elasticity and creating an adhesion where the layers get stuck. So it's hard to say, is it muscle? Is it fascia? They are so interconnected. I think for dancers, knowing when we are able to find that elastic recoil, that's where we are working within more of a fascial focused movement. And I think if you're teaching people how to jump, we think about, we need to be strong enough to jump. We need to have the muscular power from our calves to shoot us up into the jump. But a lot of the fascial research has shown that this extracellular matrix has this coil and uncoiling reflex. They talk about the tissues have these crimps in them, like curly hair. And that the more crimp that there is, the bigger the recoil. And so if there are students who are struggling with finding that kind of rhythmic bouncing versus muscular pushing of the jumps, then helping to train that rhythmic bounce to help establish the crimp in the tissues. And I may be jumping all over the place, but we will circle back around to where everyone knows where we're coming from and what to do. So I think the way we look at injuries, it is so specific. I think that there are folks with ankle pain, and they say, oh, is it coming from the foot? Is it coming from the Achilles tendon? What I see a lot of that is so specific is dancers are trying so hard to crank turnout that the bones at the lower part of the leg, that end of the tibia and fibula, are spinning too far. And then the bones of the foot say, well, I can't hang with you. What are you doing? Where are you going? And so it creates this mismatch. And so in terms of the fascia, when that happens, the Achilles tendon is getting yanked too far in and around medially. And so if there's imbalance with what's happening at the lower leg and what's happening through the foot, then the Achilles tendon never gets to really be in the right place to do its job. So it's being sort of remodeled into this different track that supports the releve, supports external rotation on a releve, but it doesn't support the springing bouncingness. So I'll let you ask a question. I talked a long time there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's a lot. I'm visualizing as you're saying it, and you're explaining it so well. If you're just joining, I am Bree with Apollo here with Melissa McDaniel. It's Beyond the Steps Day, and we bring you all topics from racism, gender inequities, sex abuse and prevention, psychology, nutrition, and of course, dance medicine and science, which is where we are living today. We're chatting with Susan Haynes about understanding what is fascia and what is the impact on our dance training. Why is it important? Susan, I've heard so much debate, especially from the Apollo side of things, about taping and wrapping and braces and compression socks. And does it help? Does it hurt? Does it help, restrict your range of motion and prohibit you from building strength, which we know that there's no real research that says it does not. What are your thoughts on that? And what do you want to tell people?
Yeah, great question. First of all, there's some fabulous research out there about the mechanoreceptors on smooth skin areas, meaning the bottoms and tops of the feet, that there are more mechanoreceptors that help the body figure out what is my human doing and what level of muscular activation do I need to send to various parts to help my human do this better. And so stimulating those receptors, which the Apollo shocks do so well, right, on that smooth skin, where there are more and of the different kinds of the mechanoreceptors, can definitely have a positive impact.
Okay.
So So I think that the mechanoreceptors, kind of like the body's GPS system. Where am I? What's going on? They're taking input from the location of the joints, location of the bones, and sending it up to the central nervous system. Motor control center says, whoa, looks like we're trying to do a jump. Looks like we're trying to balance on one leg. Sends out the proper motor signal, proper signal to say, oh, I better kick on a little bit more calf. I better kick on more quad, more trunk. My human needs more stability. And so if we are missing what they call body mapping, if we have kind of lost touch with taking in feedback through those mechanoreceptors, then helping the body create a new feedback loop can be really beneficial. So I guess that's the non-nutshell version of saying, yes, the taping strategies and the compression from the shocks can be very helpful. That I think for a lot of folks, dancers have done so many releves, footwork everywhere. Like so much of the dance work is happening with fine motor control through the feet and ankles. And we just go on autopilot. We're not looking for new feedback. So that loop gets kind of set. And so I think the tape and the compression helps shift that feedback loop.
Well, yeah, and it's really important to know, you know, those things. I think people think if you do those things, in fact, I know people think that because they've said it to us, that if you do these things, it's going to become a crutch for you. And it's really not. It's a tool. And we like to say we're one cog in the wheel, or we're one tool in the tool belt to help you to train and to help you recover and to help you be your strongest, best self. But we're not, it's not the only thing you need, but it's something that will help you get where you want to go, right?
Right, absolutely. And there's some fabulous ultrasound videos where they have a person that has knee pain and they are extending the knee and flexing the knee, and they have the quadriceps looking at it under ultrasound, and they have it without the taping. And this is the more flexible tape. I'm a big Rock Tape fan, certified by Rock Tape. So I think they have done a lot of great research, but there are a lot of taping brands out there. So, so seeing the ultrasound difference of the layers here, I'm back to my visual aid again. With the tape on, you can see the layers of the tissue and the muscle gliding smoothly. And when the tape is off, there's this little catch and a hiccup, and they can't go the same route. So they have a lot of videos of ultrasounds showing the benefits of the tape. There's a lot of research on the thoracolumbar fascia, the low back fascia, and that the clients who came in with low back pain do not have great glide through the fascia of the low back, that they have diminished glide of the tissues compared to the folks who do not have back pain. So on anecdotal taping research, I usually, when students are struggling with pain or balance issues, I do use the tape a lot. And I think the most dramatic story, I had a student and he had really tight hamstrings. He couldn't bend over and touch the floor. Wow. And that was sort of his dream. He was a dance major. He was going to be a professional dancer, but he had really tight hamstrings. And for a lot of folks, the amount of flexibility that you are granted, it comes from the central nervous system. If the central nervous system doesn't think you are stable enough to handle throwing your leg up by your ear or touching the floor, it's not going to give the muscles that amount of length. Okay. So it's going to protect you. And we say, thank you, central nervous system. We really do appreciate that. in the moment when we want our leg to go higher or we want to touch the floor, we might not say thank you. But
Right.
With this particular dancer, we taped up his low back for more stability, and instantaneously he bent over and put his hands on the floor.
Wow.
Wow.
And so whatever feedback loop was happening in the low back, for the brain to say, no, whatever's going to happen here, I don't feel good about letting my human have this much hamstring length. Mm-hmm. But when we put the tape on, it stabilized things enough or changed the feedback loop so that he was easily able to touch the floor.
Right. That is just absolutely fascinating. I never would have thought, the central nervous system is keeping this range of motion from being with that. I mean, I'm having aha moments all over the place. Nicole in the chat is like incredible. There are people who are having these aha moments in all of the places that we're broadcasting right now. But so what is it going to take for the dance industry and healthcare providers who treat dancers to turn their attention to this, to turn their attention to fascia and how it impacts dance performance?
Right. And I think that the tide is turning. I think that we are up against a very, very entrenched tradition. And I teach ballet. I teach ballet and contemporary, my primary forms. And when my ballet students come in, I say, okay, folks, we are going to do a lot of crazy things, but you deserve to know what the current research is. We are going to start by trying to find that glide through the plantar fascia and helping the body understand that the strength that we need or the movement control that we need is not just that plie push to the releve, that we need the body and all of the lower body joints, ankle, knee, and hip to be able to coordinate as we glide through and pass through a releve and up and then down to the plie and through. So helping them find a more dynamic use of the body, that we start with these little side to side glides and glides through fourth, and you're coming up higher to maybe a 1/4 inch releve and then 3/4 off the floor and then full. To help coordinate the ankle and the knee and the hip and that fascial glide and the control of the muscles. So, which is a very different way of working than I'm just going to muscularly control the plie, muscularly control the releve. So we're trying to set up that glide, that connection through the fascial tissues. I think the best way of understanding the fascial tissues, the researchers talk about, Robert Schleip talks about watching an antelope run or a kangaroo. And they said these animals have very long limbs, so they have very long tendons, back to that Achilles tendon example. And so when you are watching them run at breakneck speeds, or hop rather at breakneck distances for the kangaroo, they are capturing that elastic recoil of the fascial tissues.
Okay.
So they can be very energy efficient because they're not having to exert a lot of muscular force. If you think about an antelope, and I'm trying to resist doing a hand gallop on your program, but right, you can see the antelope across the field there. When we think about that elastic recoil powering that travel, they're not having to use a lot of energy from their muscles. They're not having to burn, like the human body is trying to be literally energy efficient. How many calories did this cost me? What's the calorie burn for making this work? And using that elastic recoil is going to give you that power and force without the muscular work. so you can be
Right.
much more efficient. And the kangaroo, I tell my students the kangaroo story. That was part of how they realized, wait a minute, this fascial stuff is important, is they were measuring the power of a kangaroo's jump. And so they were measuring what each of the muscles contributed to the system. And they said, hang on a minute, when we put all this together, this muscular force does not equal where this kangaroo can jump. This doesn't make sense. What's going on?
Right.
And so they said, okay, there's some kind of elastic coiling mechanism and a recycling of that coil each time happening.
Right.
What is that? And so that started a lot of the understanding of this is how the fascial system works.
Right. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. It sounds like a complete overhaul, like you said, of what we're normally doing and what we've been taught to do and what has been passed down. So I want to talk a little bit about what the common practices are in the dance industry and the way that we've trained dancers traditionally, things that are considered standard, that are actually dangerous or a threat to the health of your fascia.
Right. And I think the very first thing, I guess, overall for all the dance teachers out there, the overarching idea is how you play with timing. That a lot of our ability to capitalize on this elastic recoil has to do with the rhythmic use of the body. And I think there are some dance teachers doing this just naturally. They're looking at their students and saying, oh, we need to do this. Trying to spend more time at the top of the jump, a faster plie. So then you launch yourself, trying to capitalize on that elastic catapulting so that the jump timing changes.
Okay.
When we're going across the floor, there's a lot of work that I do helping students move from the obliques, kind of the relationship of the oblique subsystems. So the lats and the glutes and the obliques on the trunk are setting up that tensioning and helping us with that catapulting from the trunk. So we play with a lot of spirals through the trunk. So our sauté to first arabesque, sauté retiré, we're not trying to power from the legs. We're letting the spine have those spirals. So those layers of tensioning and untensioning, that coiling up and uncoiling helps launch the body through space. And so my students think it's very funny. Most of the traditional ballet CDs, the timing of Grand Allegro is a little too slow to help students feel that, to really capitalize on that elasticity. And so it just happened one day that Beyonce's Countdown has this perfect tempo of coiling and uncoiling. And we say, this is all about travel. This is about trying to get your inner antelope on. How do we start flying across the floor powered by this, the obliques and the lats, those oblique subsystems? And so it's always funny that they'll say, oh, when's that fascia day with the countdown? When are you going to play Beyonce? But I then, once you have discovered this way of working, then absolutely you can put it into any tempo that is needed. I'm not saying everything just needs to be faster, but it's how do we establish this awareness in the body? And I think playing with opposition, that we're sending energy out to one side, catching that recoil and letting it take us back through. So working with different rhythmic changes, even on anything with a fondue and a plie, I think helping them spend more time in the up cycle and a faster down, if that's right. And these are kind of general overarching ideas. Absolutely, we still need the strength to be able to control a slow descent on one leg and a plie, and a controlled strength to push up, but that's where we're trying to integrate the fascial system and the muscles so that we have both. Because dancers, we have to have it all. As you said, we are the athletes of the art world.
Strongest athletes in the world, for real.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I love the comments right now. Beyonce is the answer to everything. Oh, that is
Who
so
knew?
true. Who knew? And Nicole Jordan says, I'd love to take one of your classes. Thank you for these examples. So helpful. Hi, Michelle Asaf. How are you? So yeah, we're gonna get to the last question here, because the bottom line is, what do we need to do about it to get more educated in this area and to create more awareness in this area? So what are the 3 most important changes you want to see that you think we should be making in our studio culture and doing rehearsals to make sure that dancers are safe and healthy as it relates to fascia?
Yeah, and I love this question, right? And that's so important. What do we do next? And I think making sure that students have a dynamic warm up, getting the heart rate up first, not taxing the muscles until we have established a little more sense of overall fascial glide, and then localized fascial glide around the joints. That I think this swings, leg swings, arm swings, torso swings, where we're going into those spirals to wake up the obliques. I think that dynamic warm up, getting your glide on, so to speak, before you ask for any more solid, stabilizing muscular work. And I see a lot, I know pliés are they're still very early in most classes. And I see so many students that they are taught to plie with this huge muscular, almost a wrenching of the legs out. And they say, no, I'm working my deep rotators. I have to do this. That's how I work my deep rotators. And I think, oh, no, we're just kind of jamming the hip socket. You're missing out on the bone rhythm that has to happen in the plie, and you're missing out on the body's natural recoil. So when I see that, what I call door stopping turnout, it's almost like an isometric contraction of the quads. That you have door stopped your turnout, and you are kind of trying to wrench it down as you go into the plie. And then your teacher keeps saying, hold your turnout, more turnout. And then you wrench it back up. And so if that is how we are establishing the hip socket, that is a dangerous practice, because we're missing out on the head of the femur has to spin as the knees bend, as we flex at the hip. The head of the femur has to spin in and out. And if we're missing that spin, we're basically interfering with our own movement. And so I think letting there be more ease, letting the body be a little more rhythmic and bouncy, the idea that we are more springy than forced, I think is really helpful with that. And then I think making sure that your students have the appropriate stabilizers, that when you are teaching a combination, and here's where it really does shift our culture, because we will give a combination and everyone goes for it. But to be able to have a culture that is trusting enough and supportive enough to say, hey, student A, you're going to do it this way. And it's not because you're better or worse. You have different needs. Hey, student B, you need to do this, but we're not going to do XYZ until I know that your glute stabilizers can hold you here. Because otherwise, that's like, dancers are masters at problem solving. And I call it BAMP, the acronym BAMP, BAMP, by any means possible. And so I see dancers, I say, wow, your body is lifting the leg with only your hamstring. Your glute, you have neurologically somehow shut it off, even though that's not supposed to be possible
Right.
in the textbooks. But you've done it. And they're like, oh yeah, my teacher told me never use my butt. My teacher told me that. And so dancers make these miraculous things happen because they're trying to fit into a box. And I think if we just recognize that there could be a screening, there could be a strength and coordination screening that says, hey, we want you to have all of these things. And it's not like we're not holding you back. You want to have all these things too before we start building on top of it. And I will have a lot of my students and private clients, and we will start and say, we're just going to stand on one leg. How is that going? If your ankle's not happy and your knee's not happy and your hip's not happy and your rib cage is all over, do you think we should jump on this platform? Right. Do you think we should turn? Let's get this.
This is mind blowing, because that's really what you're saying makes so much sense. Yet it's the complete antithesis of what we practice, right? And like there's the whole like we don't want to single anybody out, and we don't want to make anybody feel bad, but at the same time, it's like it's for that overall health and wellness of the individual dancer that we have to be thinking about. Yet the practice of doing that takes a little bit of finesse, because it's you may have the best of intentions as an educator, but how is that student going to receive that? How is the parent going to receive that? How are the other students going to perceive that information?
Right. And it's so interesting, because in like traditional teaching, I taught K through 12. I led a dance department K through 12 at an independent school. You do a lot of teacher PD, and differentiated learning was the buzzword. In math class, in English class, in science class, differentiated learning. So why don't we have that?
We're having a really bad feedback right now.
I'm trying to work some tech magic, but I'm not sure I'm helping it.
No, that's better. I think that's better. Yeah, that's better.
It's like it's only when I talk, so I don't know what was happening on my end. I feel like, but yes, Susan, I want to go to homework.
Oh,
homework.
Yeah.
We love to give homework here. So can you give us one thing that our listeners, you want our listeners to do between now and next week to make progress in this area?
Yeah, I would suggest taking a look at the timing of your plies, of your going into knee flexion. And I think playing with the idea that there is elastic recoil helping you along. Like, I think there's great resources out there. Like I said, Thomas Meyer's site, Gil Headley has an amazing site. A quick note with Gil Headley, he has a fabulous speech that I think every dancer should hear, that the fascial layers, we can see that sponge-like surface. And he said, when we see cellulite on the body, that's just, we're seeing the body fat through the fascial layer. It's nothing bad. It's just your body. So I think
I'm going to say that to myself this summer when I put on a swimsuit. I'm going to say, Susan told me.
Yeah,
this is just my body.
It is just your body. Yeah.
Peeking through the fascial tissue, and I am like stained glass.
Yeah. And so he has a really empowering speech that I think, I know a lot of studios out here play it for the National Love Your Body Week. And I think learning, as we learn about dance science and learn about our individual differences, I think it helps us all feel more honored. And like I said, creating that culture of trust, where this isn't about competing with each other. This is about everyone getting what they need from movement education. So I would say get on your elastic recoil. Think about the body from that viewpoint versus a muscular push and pull kind of visual, more of an elastic recoil, and just see what your weekend of elasticity feels like.
Love it. Thank you.
Awesome. So steps beyond. What's next for us? Bree's gonna pop some things in the chat here. The steps initiative. I'm sorry guys for my feedback. I'm trying to figure out where in the world is it coming from. But STEPS Initiative, that's where all of this was born from. So the STEPS Initiative is available. It is totally free. Bree is going to drop that in the chat for you. I'm going to drop it here on Instagram for you so that you can take advantage of that. Please do it. It's a totally free resource. So make sure that you tell your friends, drag your friends along, and everybody can learn from that. Our friends at YPAD have also offered us a 25% off code for you, all of our viewers. You insiders, you get this because you're here with us. 25% off using the code Apollo25 off of the certifications that YPAD offers on their website, and that is going to also be popped in the chat here for us. Susan, tell us, how do people get in touch with you? What are your social media handles?
Yeah, they can find me at Dance Conditioning Technique on Instagram and Facebook, and my website is danceconditioningtechnique.com. And part of my mission to help revamp dance training is I have a video subscription series. So there's a general fascial glide warm up and helping to reset the hip socket and using fascial glide for ease in turnout. So there are more videos and resources on my website, and I would love to hear from folks. I think what makes the field stronger is this kind of dialogue, help us working together. So I look forward to hearing from viewers with questions and comments.
Thank you. And everybody message Susan at, you can email her. You can find all of her videos and resources at danceconditioningtechnique.com. She has some homework for you today. This entire episode can be viewed on TPDC's YouTube channel, or you can view it them on apolloperformance.com. All of our episodes live in full on our Facebook page. You can see them there. Again, that's at Apollo Performance on Facebook. Susan Haynes, thank you so much. This has been really, I need to go back and rewatch this and listen again. The visuals you gave were so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. And it's such an honor to be here and get to reach so many dancers and dance educators. So thanks for all the fabulous work that Apollo Performance does.
Thank you. And I'm never going to look at an orange the same way again.
There you go.
But yeah, no, we're really excited to explore this. I want you all to rewatch it. I want you to share this conversation. That is all how we learn. So make sure you share the video, the full video from Facebook. Next week, we are talking with Dr. Sonia V. Compton about, is it safe and effective to wear a mask during physical activity? There's a lot of masking restrictions still in place, a lot of back and forth about what the right answer is here. We're not here to debate right or wrong. We're giving you evidence-based information and resources. That is what we do. So we're going to talk to Dr. Compton about that next Friday, February 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern, right back here. We hope to see you there. Until then, we hope you continue your journey beyond the steps. Everybody have a great weekend.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Susan.
you. Yeah, pleasure. Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.